everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Danielle and this is Danielle's Books. Thanks for stopping by. This is going to be my favorite books I've read in 2022. Now, I will say that I didn't start my channel until about July, something like that. And so I'm not going to be doing all of the list type of videos that I know a bunch of other booktubers do, like your favorite books, your worst books, like most surprising, disappointing, all of that. I'm not going to be doing all of those this year because I did a horrible job at tracking my reading before I started my channel. So this is kind of my favorite books pretty much in the second half of the year, I suppose. But I didn't really read anything memorable in the first half of the year anyway, except for one of them, which I'll get to. But before we get to my list, I did want to stop and say a thank you to Ana Luisa for partnering with me on this video. So I've worn this ring here. I'll do some close-ups so you can see. I've been wearing this ring in my last few videos. I also got earrings from Ana Luisa, which again, you'll see the close-up. And I think that Ana Luisa is one of the best jewelry brands out there. It's super affordable. There's a wide variety of jewelry to choose from. And what better time to shop for jewelry when you could be shopping for gifts and using some Christmas money to get jewelry as well. So I wanted to talk to you about some sales that are going on. So first of all, they have their holiday sale, which goes from December 6th to the 20th, and that's buy one, get one half off. And then also they have their end of the year sale, which starts on December 20th and goes until January 10th, which that is 20% off. But if you're ready to shop right now, you can use my coupon code, which will be linked down below, as well as the website and all of the info. And my code is Danielle's Books 20 to get 20% off your order. So please check them out. They have the best jewelry, and like I said, such a wide variety. These rings are so high quality, beautiful. I actually don't have my ears pierced. I gifted the earrings to my mom, so like I said, they make a perfect gift. I gifted them to her because it was her birthday and also for Christmas. So check them out, like I said, and go get you some good deals on some jewelry for either you or a loved one in your life. And thank you again to Ana Luisa for partnering with me on this portion of today's video. Now, back to the books. So I have 5 of my favorite books of the year, and then I also have an honorable mention, which I guess I'll do the honorable mention first, and that is going to be Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. So this is the one I was talking about that I read in the first half of the year that was a standout for me. If I read this right when it came out, this probably would be my favorite book of the year, of the month, of whatever, because you can't deny that this is an outstanding thriller. Now, what I will say is I was super late to the game in reading this book, so probably everyone's already read it. And so I don't feel like I need to talk about this one that much. If I were to give like a brief pitch, which again, I would go into this knowing nothing because this is a really, really twisty, turny thriller, and it has an amazing adaptation, very, very similar to the book. So I would say my pitch for this one is you're following Nick Dunn, who wakes up and it's his 5-year wedding anniversary and his wife is missing. Obviously, he is going to be a suspect in that case, and you basically go from there. You try and figure out, you go through a roller coaster ride throughout the book, and like I said, there's so many twists and turns, and I highly recommend it. This is a 5-star book for me, and this is one of my favorite thrillers that I've ever read, and yeah, it doesn't hold my top spot this year. Like I said, any other year maybe this would have, but I've got some good books here. So this is my honorable mention, and I'll have all these books linked down below. Next up, these are not really in any particular order. They're just my 5 favorites, and I love them all. I gave them all 5 stars, so do with that what you will. But I don't know. It was hard for me to choose an all-time favorite book of the year because I read so many good ones. The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead. This could be possibly my favorite book I read this year. So this is a thriller. It has a podcast element in it, and you're following, what is the main girl's name again? Shay. So Shay is living in Texas, and her friends live in New York. She finds out through a podcast that she listens to, and the host of that podcast is someone she's known since childhood. She finds out through that podcast that one of her best friends committed suicide, and you're basically following Shay's journey as she goes undercover in a sex cult, trying to get to the bottom of what happened to her friend. She goes on the journey with that childhood friend, Jamie. Yeah. And so, yeah, this is one of the books that I really enjoyed the podcast element in. Also, what I want to say, I should have said this right away when I started talking about the book, the trigger warnings. Like, check them out before you read into this, because honestly, there are so many triggers in this book. And this was a 5-star book for me, and I really enjoyed it. But there was it's hard hitting. I don't want anyone to go into it without checking the triggers, because there are a lot of them. But this book really captivated me. It angered me at times. It just kept me wanting to read more and more. I would say the first half, very first part of the book was a little bit, it took me a second to get through, because it was heavy, and so I wasn't flying through the first bit. But once I, muddled through that a little bit, I just couldn't put the book down. I absolutely loved it. I read this with my friend Kelly, and we both really enjoyed it. So this is definitely one that I would recommend, as long as you can handle it. Like I said, check the warnings. So there you have The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead. And then another one of my favorites of the year is Notes on Execution by Danya Kafka. This is like the definition of most surprising, if I would have done that list. But like I said, I'm not really doing those lists, and honestly, a lot of those I might not even do in the future either, because for me, it feels really repetitive. Like, this is one of my favorite books of the year, but also this is like the definition of a surprising book, because I went into this not with super high expectations or anything, and I didn't know that I was going to love it so much. So this one, you're following Ansel, and he is on death row, and you're basically counting down the hours till his execution, and you start at 12 hours, I believe, and you're alternating chapters between him, which is told in second person, which was super interesting to read about. And then you're also alternating, like I said, between 3 different women in his life. So you have his sister-in-law, you have his mom, and then you have who ultimately brings him to justice. You have someone who's known him pretty much since childhood, and she is now what's her exact title? Detective. I'm not really sure, but yeah, I just thought that this book was so good. It was so well written, and I was so intrigued by everything going on. And it has really great commentary about, falling in love with someone who has done bad stuff. And I just thought it was super interesting. It's not super long. And also I just love this cover too. I love the color purple, so I'm excited that I've really enjoyed a lot of purple books, because then I can keep them on my shelf. And that's just a totally random side note, but I would really recommend this book. I thought, like I said, if you're someone who's really into writing, this is also like a literary suspense, I would say. This is not a thriller, so if you're wanting something super thrilling, this is definitely not going to be that book. But it's well written, it's suspenseful, it's captivating, and I just really, really enjoyed this. So it kind of came out of nowhere for me, and yeah, I would recommend Notes on Execution. 5-star books, very, very easy 5-star. And then I have some horror novellas. So first one up is going to be Cirque, Berserk by Jessica Guess. This one I had heard was really good, so I went into this one with pretty high expectations. This one is set in the 80s. You have carnival vibes, and basically you're following this it's like a group of friends who it's their graduation or their like senior, what is it called? Their senior class trip. And basically like everything about it was super boring. And they wanted something more entertaining. So one of the friends was like, oh, how about we go to this place? It's called, what's it technically called? Cirque, berserk. And it has a history of people dying there. So whoever goes to Cirque, berserk has always died there. There was like a huge massacre several years ago, and you're following these kids as they go to the carnival because they just wanted to check it out for themselves. They thought it'd be thrilling. They wanted to do something fun and different for their class trip, and it's a slasher, I'll say that. But I really, really enjoyed this. Super, super fast read. It's only like 150 pages or so. So I would really recommend this one. It's my favorite slasher I've ever read. So there's that. Super fast paced, and I really enjoyed the twist. So there you have Cirque, berserk by Jessica Guess. This is also part of the Rewind or Die. So if you don't know, Rewind or Die is like just, a series of horror novellas written by a bunch of different authors, and this is one of them in that series. So good stuff there. And now the next one is The Rotting Within by Matt Kurtz. This is another one. I didn't go in with super high expectations, but I got this recommended from Book Talk, and it's one that always kept showing up as like a favorite book for Ashley from Spookish Mommy. I feel like I never say her handle right, but I think that's what it is. And this always ends up on her list of like favorite horror novellas or, whatever. So this one, you're following this girl named Kenzie. She's fleeing from an abusive relationship, and she winds up at her grandma's like inn that's super off the grid. And creepy stuff happens at the inn. There's stuff hidden, hidden beneath the walls. There's certain things, like she has 2 kids, and they're told that they're not allowed to go on the 3rd floor because there's a bunch of older ladies there who aren't the friendliest. And you're just following all of the creepy vibes that's at this inn. And it was so good. I read this so fast. I literally remember Zach had gotten home from work, and I was towards the end of the book, and normally that's when we'll like eat dinner and hang out and talk and everything. And I just like did not want to be doing it with him. I was like, I did not want to be eating with him, I should say. I just like wanted to finish the book because I was just so interested in it. This is a really, really, really good one. And yeah, one of my favorite books I read this year. So there you have The Rotting Within by Matt Kurtz. Last up, I feel like this might not be that much of a surprise. This is another one of my favorite thrillers of the year, and that is Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. This is, I kind of went into this assuming I was going to like it. It was very much so, like, it had everything I needed to be in a thriller. So basically, what is her name? Let me get her name right. So Daisy Darker and then Nana, right? She didn't have a name. Okay, so you're following Daisy Darker, and she's going to her grandma's, island home, and it's about to be her 80th birthday, and all of her family is like getting back together. They haven't seen each other in a while, and basically there's like a rainstorm. They can't leave the home, the island, and people start getting picked off one by one. It's a very locked room. They're locked in Nana's house, and there's like 6, 7, 8 of them. It's, her whole family. And there's some characters I definitely hated in this book, but there's also some characters that I really, really enjoyed in this book. So it had a good mix. This had amazing atmosphere, and I was just super intrigued. I wanted to know what was going to happen, and the twist did not disappoint me. This was one that I was able to figure out beforehand, but that didn't ruin the book for me at all because I liked where it went. So yeah, this is one of my favorite books of the year, one of my favorite thrillers, and that is Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. And with that, I think that wraps up my favorite books I read this year. I would absolutely love to know all of your favorite books of the year, so definitely leave those down below. And also, don't forget to check out my description box. I'll have Bookstagram, Book Talk, subscribe to this channel, and then I'll have some Zach's information down below too. And also, don't forget to check out Ana Luisa. Like I said, you can use my link down below. It'll be right at the top of the box, and get yourself 20% off the website. Like, what a good deal. And yeah, with that, I think I will see you in the next video. I think Zach will be with me in my next video, so get excited for that. And I hope you have a great day whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!